What's up guys, my name's Stu, and today we're going to be talking about the Ships of the Line Steamrunner bundle. For those of you who missed 10.4 Weekly, that's right, we're finally getting a Tier 6 Steamrunner. This ship will be available on October 1st in the C-Store through the Ships of the Line Blockade Runner bundle or on its own. The bundle will include the new Tier 6 Steamrunner, the old Tier 1 and Tier 5 versions, 2 experimental upgrade tokens, and a Tier 5U token. Its normal price will be 5,000 Zen, but for the first week of its release it'll be on sale for 35% off, meaning you'll be able to pick up the bundle for 3,250 Zen until October 8th. Though if you don't want the bundle, the Tier 6 Steamrunner will also be available as a separate purchase. Though from how the blog is worded, it doesn't look like the individual ship will get the 35% off sale, so I would expect that to be 3,000 Zen at launch. If that's the case, I'm definitely going to buy the bundle. Just those 2 experimental upgrades are definitely worth the extra 250 Zen. Now let's get a look at what we all actually care about, the ship stats. Here we are, the Appalachia Blockade Runner Escort, aka the Tier 6 Steamrunner. Before we get to the stats, I think you guys should take a second to appreciate just how pretty this ship is. I've always been a huge fan of the Steamrunner's look, and the Star Trek Online art team has done an exceptional job of bringing this into the 2409 aesthetic. The regular Steamrunner's model has also been updated in Star Trek Online, so if you prefer that model, don't worry, it looks just as good now. Honestly, a part of me doesn't even care about the stats. A ship this pretty available in the C-Store, I'm already sold. But don't worry, I'll go over them anyway. It has a hull modifier of 1.15, a shield modifier of 1, a 4-3 weapons layout, 2 device slots. For the bridge officer seating, it's got 1 tactical, 1 lieutenant commander/command, 1 lieutenant commander engineering, 1 ensign science, and 1 lieutenant universal/intel. In the consoles, it's got 5 tactical, 4 engineering, and 2 science. It has a turn rate of 16 degrees per second, an impulse modifier of 0.21, an inertia rating of 60, plus 15 to weapons power and plus 5 to engines. It can load dual cannons, which would be surprising if it couldn't, it's an escort. It has a new console, a new experimental weapon, and a new trait, we'll go over those in a bit. And it has the standard escort mastery package, which gives buffs to accuracy, defense, all damage, and crit chance. Even though this is a C-Store ship, it does not have a fleet version because it's already at fleet quality. The Tier 5 version was the same way, so this really isn't a surprise. The ship comes with the console Tricobalt Tear Launcher. It fires several high-yield tricobalt torpedoes that deal massive damage. Upon detonation, they will also open up a subspace rift, which will disable and continue to damage nearby enemies. The console's passives will provide buffs to shield penetration and projectile damage. As usual, the blog is annoyingly vague when it comes to the actual stats of the console. Fortunately, we got a peek at the tooltip on 10.4 Weekly. The console gives a 19% damage buff to mines and torpedoes, and plus 47.5 to your shield penetration skill. The actual click ability can be fired off between a 3 and 12 kilometer distance. That's really interesting because normal weapons range is only 10 kilometers, meaning you'll be able to fire off this console outside of your enemy's weapons range. The actual torpedo explosion has a radius of 1.5 kilometers, while the subspace rift they open will have a radius of 3 kilometers and last for 10 seconds. Fun fact, this console is actually inspired by an old Star Trek game, Star Trek Armada. In that game, the Steamrunner took on the role of a long-range artillery vessel which fired a tricobalt torpedo that created a small AoE, much like this console does. The experimental weapon is called Hull Spike Battery. Basically, it fires a big spike that bypasses enemy shields and deals kinetic damage. The spike then drills into the enemy ship, dealing additional kinetic damage over time. The blog says that this experimental weapon is meant to deal catastrophic damage, but judging from the tooltip, that's a bit of an exaggeration. While it'll certainly be better than the hyper-excited ion stream projector that comes standard on most escorts, with a recharge rate of 5 seconds, there's no way this thing will beat the Soliton Wave Impeller. The Starship trait is called Piercing Projectiles. They actually gave us the tooltip info in the blog for this one, definitely appreciate that. Every time you activate a torpedo or mine firing mode bridge officer ability, you gain plus 200 shield and hull penetration for 15 seconds. Now, hull penetration really isn't that big of a deal. Based on what I've read, this equates to about 20 armor penetration, so not that big. The shield penetration, though, that's pretty nice, especially considering shield penetration is very valuable in a torpedo build, because torpedoes generally do very little damage against shields. I wouldn't call it a meta trait, but it's definitely going to be helpful for those making torpedo builds who don't have some of the more expensive torpedo traits. Now, I was already prepared to love this ship just because of how pretty it is, but after reading the stats, I love it even more. This is going to be a fantastic torpedo boat. Yeah, there are better torpedo boats, but most of them are lockbox or promo ships. For a C-Store ship, this thing is fantastic. It's not a full command ship, so it won't have the inspirational abilities. And that command seat is only Lieutenant Commander, so you won't have call emergency artillery. But the fact that it has both a command and an intel seat is very interesting. The console sounds fantastic for torpedo builds, and the trait is pretty good for them too. Even the experimental weapon isn't bad if you don't have Soliton Wave Impeller. Honestly, this whole ship kind of feels like a torpedo build starter pack, which I certainly see as a good thing. You can certainly build up a good torpedo build on this ship that'll get you through pretty much any content in the game, but if you want to start DPS chasing and want to get more competitive with your torpedo builds, this is a fantastic jumping off point. So yeah, that's the Tier 6 Steamrunner. Like I said earlier, I am so excited for this ship and I can't wait to get my hands on it. It's a gorgeous ship, it's got great stats on it, and it's a C-Store ship, so it's easy to get. Literally nothing to complain about here, I love it. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, you know the drill, all the YouTube stuff, but it really does help the channel and I do appreciate it. My name's Stu, and I'll see you guys later.